Hey, what's going on? This is Sports Truth. I'm your favorite host in the entire world, Jordan Harris. I hope you had a really good weekend. I know I sure had a pretty good weekend. It was a full weekend for me. My wife surprised me with some tickets to the J. Cole and Drake concert, which was in Kansas City. So we drove there on Saturday, and they put on quite a show. Like, I don't know if you are a J. Cole or a Drake fan, whether you are or not, if you have the opportunity to go, please do go. You will enjoy yourself. It was quite the show. It was crazy. Anyway, you didn't come here for a concert review. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're here for. So Miami Hurricanes first spring practice. A lot of excitement around this whole thing. A lot of hype around this whole thing. I just want to talk about some quick notes. Obviously, I'm not an insider, but I just read things online. I read things on Twitter, read articles and whatnot, and I bring that information to you all. So let's talk today, go over a few of the key points, and then I'll just give you some of my overall thoughts on the whole first practice, just a summary of it. So, one note is this is the first of three practices this week. So, they practice Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this week. And then they're going to have three practices every week for the next few weeks. And then they'll conclude spring practice on April 13th. All right, with the spring game. So then another few things to talk about is like Cam Ward. He is number one, the first number one on the team since Mario Cristobal came to town. Reese Poffenbarger, he was number 7 at Albany, so I was wondering what number he would pick. He was actually number 16, which for some reason, like I think 16 is an ugly number. It just does not look right. Not on a basketball player, a football player, a quarterback, or it just does not look good at all to me. But hey, he chose 16, so God bless him. Ruben Bain changed his number from number 44 last year to now he's number 4, which apparently he was number 4 in high school. I looked up and saw that information. There are a few different quotes that I saw. They did like press conferences after their first practice. After their first practice, they did some press conferences and stuff. So I went, listened to some of those, saw some quotes and articles, and I just pulled from all these different areas, and I want to read some of these quotes to you. The first one is from Ruben Bain. He talked about how he enjoyed his back and forth competitiveness with Cam Ward. And if you just listen to almost all of the quotes that I have here, nearly every single thing here is about Cam Ward. So that's going to be one of the things I talk about towards the end. But this is what Ruben Bain said about Cam Ward. He said he's a little chirpy. He barks back a little bit. I told him I'm going to hit him to set the tone for spring. He told me to come with it. I like that. He's got a little swag to him. So that's what Ruben Bain said. And then we also got a quote from Elijah Arroyo, who we are all praying has a pretty good season this year because he's a tight end, obviously, and we have had no kind of production from tight ends in the last few years. So we got to get something out of our tight ends, and hopefully Arroyo can make that happen for us. But his quote was, he's talking about Cam Ward. He said, I think he's a great leader already, just being here for a couple of months. I think we have a lot of guys that look up to him and respect him. I think that's a great thing for our team. So if you ask me, I think that's a great thing too. I don't know what type of leadership we had on the team last year from the quarterback position. But what I do know is Tyler Van Dyke's body language during the games was terrible. And I think it's kind of lazy for us to assume that he's a bad leader because he wasn't a rah-rah kind of dude. But from what we saw on the sidelines, it was tough to believe that he was a really good leader. Tough to believe that. Every time he threw interceptions, his shoulders would slump and he would just waddle off the field. It looked so bad. So hopefully we can get that kind of rah-rah guy, that type of leadership that we need in the locker rooms. Hopefully we can get that from Cam Ward. We shall see. All right. Another quote comes from Jaylen Rivers, who's probably going to be the best offensive lineman. So this is what he said about Cam Ward. He said he's unbelievable. He came in right away and gelled together real quick. He took the skill players out to his house and they watched the Super Bowl together. And he'll be taking us, talking about the offensive line, out to dinner this week. I'm looking forward to that. I feel we're going to do a good job together. bonding, and we need that as an offense. So he talked about how Cam Ward is going to be taking him out to dinner, and then they asked Jaylen Rivers like, well, how much do you think that's going to cost? You think that's going to be pretty expensive when he takes all of your offensive linemen out to dinner? And then Rivers, it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. He said it's going to be a big bill, but Cam Ward got it. And going from what I've seen online, talking about how much he most likely got from his NIL deal, he better have it. If he don't have it, he is mismanaging his money like crazy. But let's not count the man's pockets. Let's not do that. But I thought it was pretty funny when he was like, hey, he got it. Because he knows that NIL money is not playing around, especially at Miami. So let's talk about my thoughts just on this whole first spring practice. All right. So the first thing, like, it's super exciting, especially when you watch the highlights and you see Cam Ward throwing to Xavier Restrepo. Like, it's exciting. You got to be excited about it, right? Because you know the season's coming. Even though we're a few months away from it, the season's coming. But at the same time, even though I am super excited, I'm also making sure that I'm tempering my expectations. Why? One, because I've been a Hurricanes fan for 22 years now. And I know it's been full of heartbreaks and upsets and all that stuff these 22 years that I've been rooting for the Hurricanes. So I try not to get too hyped up. Try not to get my expectations way up here so they don't come back and slap me down to reality. I've told y'all before, there's been so many times where I was walking around my high school, walking around college, telling people, the U is back, the U is back, all to lose the next game to Florida State and then lose the rest of the games that year. So my expectations are super high. I'm just tempering my expectations. I'm sure you all would understand why my expectations are so high. Because if you watch the games last year, there were so many times where we lost and we were just a competent quarterback away from winning by 7 to 14 points. So we would lose a game, and I'm like, if we just had a decent quarterback, we probably would have won by 2 scores. So with that in mind, and then we got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation this year. Plus our schedule is super. I mean, it's like super beatable. Like every game I look at, I'm like, we actually could win that. We should win that. We could win that. We should win that. On every one of those games, I actually wouldn't put us as the underdog in any of the games on our roster. None of them. So that's why I'm excited. But at the same time, I'm tempering my expectations. I'm hoping y'all doing the same thing. Okay? Another thought is the hype around Cam Ward is so incredibly high. I'm praying that it's not crippling because if you read, I mean, every article I read, 95% of the article is about Cam Ward. Even when they're talking about other players on the team, like even when they're talking about Ruben Bain, they're talking about what Ruben Bain said about Cam Ward. It's crazy. So it's like, I'm praying that he doesn't feel like he's got to live up to these expectations, and these expectations don't end up crippling him and causing him to play tight and starting to overthink and all that stuff. Praying that he just goes out there and just plays the game as he knows how to play and react to what's happening. So those are my thoughts on it. There's no telling what this season could be. I also want to temper my expectations because we are so far away from today all the way until the ACC championship. There's a whole lot of stuff that we've got to do to get there. It's so many things that's got to go right for us to get there. So, hey, I'm excited, tempering my expectations. And also, Cam Ward, praying that he lives up to the expectations, but he doesn't hold himself to such a standard to where it just cripples him all season. So, those are my thoughts on it. Curious to know what y'all think. Are you just as excited as I am about the spring season, spring football coming up? Or are you just like, man, wake me up when September gets here? Are you that kind of person? Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I know we all big Hurricanes fans, but it's the off season and there's not a lot of content to put out. And I'm not one to be complacent. I don't like things to be stale and stagnant. So I am going to continue making videos for other sports, whether it's professional football and professional basketball. I will definitely have a Miami Monday going forward. So every Monday I'll have something to do with Miami Hurricanes. If there's no other, I'm gonna put effort into making a Hurricanes video every day. But if there's no news, then I'm gonna have to go out and find something on LeBron or Luka Doncic or some other player from some other league. Because we got to keep the content going because we've got to grow this thing, right? So please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I truly appreciate that. Take care. God bless. Peace.